Hi, and welcome to another narration presented by yours truly, Cryptids Roost. Please be so kind as to throat punch the like button and smack the ass of the subscription button as well. And don't forget to share the video too, as far and wide as possible. This will help with YouTube's algorithm and will help promote the channel more. If you would like to support the channel and help make it grow, any and all donations can be made to paypal.me/cryptidsroost and will be most gratefully received. If you enjoy listening to the following story, be sure to pop over to the author's Reddit profile and drop them a line, or even give them a glowing review. I'm sure they would appreciate it. The link to their Reddit profile will be below. And don't forget to check out our merch store. The link will be in the description and also in the video thumbnail. If you would like an honourable mention, send in a snapshot of yourself with your purchase and I'll feature it in one of the upcoming videos. And if you're going to leave a dislike, please leave a comment as to why. That way I can review what you didn't like about the video and then I can possibly make any changes in future videos. Thank you. And finally, have you written a creepypasta story you would like me to narrate? Have you had any cryptid sightings, paranormal or supernatural encounters? You can submit your photos as mentioned earlier, and then any stories and encounters to cryptidsroost@gmail.com. And if you wish to remain anonymous, that's fine with me. All links will be listed below. So grab your coffee, sit back and enjoy the show. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not. I hunt cryptids for a living. It's harder than you think. Part 2. This fantastic series is written by Nomad6555, a wonderful author over on Reddit's Nosleep subreddit. So, after my first journal entry received so much support, I decided to continue this. Tonight I had an extremely difficult and, well, it was painful. Currently, my ass feels like I dropped the soap in prison. My arm is wrapped in hospital gauze due to the bite I received, and I'm more purple than Thanos. I'm car writing it, and I get the shit beat out of me by hairless dogs, apparently. Night 2. I got into my truck and completely dreading tonight's hunt. I had dealt with Native American creatures before, and fuck, they hurt. I, however, had never dealt with this specific creature. Jerry called me around 5. "Yo!" I said as I picked up the phone. "Kyle, your assignment is a keylot. It's been terrorizing the cars driving on 522. "What the fuck is a keylot?" "Hang on, let me pull up the file." A few clicks later. "A beast of Native American origin, known to fry the brain of any human that looks in its eyes, confusing it long enough to strike. It has an appearance like that of a hairless coyote, save for the fur on its feet, which helps it to move silently." Sounds like something straight from hell. He hung up the phone a second after that, and now I was on my way, through the state of West Virginia, to a little known town in the middle of nowhere known as Berkeley Springs. Think the smallest hick town you know, and shrink it by a factor of 4. That's Berkeley Springs. I arrived in town and went to a small gas station, asking about anyone seeing a hairless coyote. Apparently, a car rolled through about an hour before. The tyre popped, scratches down the side, and a smashed window. I asked to see the car as it had been left there. The 2019 Dodge Challenger looked like it had been hit by a steamroller with claws. The windshield was smashed. There were 2-inch deep claws marks running down the side, shredding the metal and chipping the black paint. The tyre looked like it had been run through with a sickle bar mower, and the car's roof had been ripped off, turning it into a convertible, redneck style. Whatever this keylot was, it was a bad motherfucker, and I wasn't sure I wanted to fight it. I asked the owner of the store where the car owner had had his encounter, if you can call it that. He told me it was about a mile outside of town. I opened up the back of my truck and started loading my guns. I put magazine bronze rounds into my AR and 1 silver bullet into my revolver. This round was different from what I normally used. If the beast is Native American, you have to use a special round. The bullets are silver hollow points with holy ash in the tip and blessed by a Native American shaman. I got in the truck and started driving down 522. After about 5 minutes, I heard a growl that rattled the frame of my truck and saw golden eyes in the woods alongside the road. Next thing I knew, my truck was rattling with each revolution of my tyres. I stopped the truck and got out. I looked at my passenger side tyre and saw a hairless coyote clamped onto my steel reinforced tyre. It snarled and released the tyre when it saw me. This thing was 5 foot tall, with wrinkled pink skin and midnight black fur around its feet. It bared its huge sharp teeth at me as I started to back up, and it followed. I aimed my AR at its eyes and fired. It yelled in pain as my bullet hit it in the eye, leaving a sizzling hole. See, cryptids couldn't regenerate completely new body parts, such as eyes, so it would be blind in that eye forever. It started to run at me and I kicked it in the head. It went sprawling with another yelp. However, it was back up in a half a second and running at me. I'm not proud of it, but I panicked. I started to run away like a pussy when this thing jumped on me and bit me in the ass. I flipped over and trapped it beneath me, but it scratched the shit out of my back trying to get up. I got up and I ran to put distance between us. It was back up in a second and running at me. It caught up and latched onto my arm. I screamed in pain, which only made it bite harder. I took my Bowie knife, the size of a small crusader sword, and stabbed it in the side. It yelped again and let go, but it regenerated around my knife, so I wouldn't be able to get it back out. Before I knew what was happening, the Keeloot jumped on me. I held it back as best as I could because it was trying to snap my throat. I knew if it got my throat, I was gone. I started frantically punching it in the face, neck and body. Eventually I kicked it off and ran to Stacy, my truck, read previous story for context, and jumped in. I started her up and drove her full speed into the Keeloot, impaling it on the cast iron spikes welded to the bumper guard. It thrashed and screamed and sprayed blood across the front of my truck and the ground. I pulled out my revolver, doing my best to minimize use of my left arm, and aimed at the Keeloot's head and fired. It died immediately. I got back in my truck, slumped into the driver's seat and called Jerry, telling him that the Keeloot was dead. While I was waiting for the cleanup crew, I did my best to staunch the bleeding in my arm to no result. The Keeloot had severed an artery. I ripped off my shirt sleeve and wrapped it round tightly around the bite. That would have to do until I got to the hospital. Jerry got there with the crew. They took the body, wired $750 to my account, damn well deserved after the shit that thing put me through, and I drove to the hospital. I told the doctor in the hospital that I got attacked by a rabid dog, which wasn't entirely untrue. I went home, and here I am writing the post. I'm going to take 2 days off to let my wounds heal. I'll be back after that time. Don't play with Keeloots, kids. This is Carl Reitinger, signing off.